Hi everybody, Adam here. Today we're taking a look at the latest LEGO Ideas set, LEGO set number 21333, the Starry Night. Really amazed by this set overall. It contains 2,316 pieces. Before we take a closer look at the finished build here, I want to show you a few cool things from the instruction manual first. So starting out here, really like the image of the Starry Night painting on the front of the instruction manual. Looks awesome and really gives you some reinforcement about just what an amazing job they've done in recreating this painting out of Lego. So really cool touch there to have that image on the front. Now, going inside here, I'm a really big fan of the Lego sets that have a blurb at the beginning of the instructions that kind of goes through the background of the subject matter that the set is based on. And, this most often shows up in Lego Ideas sets. And for this particular set here, first page in, we've got some nice background on Vincent van Gogh, the painter of this painting, and talks a little bit about his life and just the volume of paintings that he's worked on in his lifetime, and some of his sort of stylistic decisions and basis for that. So really cool to get that information here. It adds a lot of nice context to the build, I think. And I really like the inclusion of all these great images. This first one here is a self-portrait. Just really cool to see some of these images collected here in this format. Now we go over to the next page here. I thought it was interesting. They talk a bit about the Starry Night itself and the time in Van Gogh's life when he worked on this painting. Thought it was very interesting. So it was May 1889, and he'd been suffering, some deteriorating health, and he did some painting for treatment around that, and this is one of the paintings that resulted from that. So I thought that was really cool to learn and to see, and again, it just adds a lot of context and increases just your knowledge about this painting in particular, but about Van Gogh in general. I also thought it was interesting that they talk a little bit about the MoMA Museum here, the Museum for Modern and Contemporary Art in New York City. I've never been, but it definitely would be an interesting place to visit, I think. And interesting that they worked in part with Lego on the creation of this set. And then there's a section here that talks about the fan designer who originally put together the Lego Ideas project for the Starry Night. Really cool to learn more about the designers of these Lego Ideas sets. In this particular case, it's Truman Cheng is the fan designer. Really awesome work that he did, and I think it's cool to see how that's now translated out to an official Lego set. And then last but not least, there's a section here that talks about the Lego model designer and the graphic designer who worked on the set, which is really cool to see. Always interesting to kind of learn even just a little bit more about the designers that work on putting these sets together. And I think it's definitely got to be an interesting process for them to take a fan design like that and adapt it to to a model that's going to ship out as an official set. So really cool overall. Really like all the details that they've managed to pack into these opening pages of the instruction manual. Now, taking a closer look at the finished build, the first thing that really jumped out at me as I was building this, and now that I'm looking at it as a complete build, was the great job they did with the layering of bricks. So you can see here with the ground meeting the sky, and that is a lot of great brick layering, a lot of plates and tile pieces that are all put together here to create a lot of great depth and sort of visual interest throughout the painting, and really helps the build come alive. You definitely look at this painting and it looks like a three-dimensional scene, which is really neat and different from what you typically see in Lego art sets. We typically get the mosaic style where it's very flat generally, and if there is any dimension, it doesn't come very far out and off of the main build surface. So really cool here, and as a result of that, it also made it a lot of fun to build and put together, just because it was very different from the typical style of how Lego sets are built and sort of take shape over time. So, really big fan of all of that texture. The fact that they've got this whole little city, or portion of a cityscape out in front here is really nicely done. Great buildings and houses around the entire scene. And then you move to the background of the painting here with the actual sky. And it's a different type of texture and dimension that you get from this portion of the build. Really cool to see. I thought it was nice. All of these pieces are mounted on studs that are facing out, sort of perpendicular to the build. Really cool to see how they worked those studs into the build and then put all of these brick built pieces across those studs. Really interesting, and I think it stands out nicely in comparison to the dimension that you get from these stacked plates and tiles down here at the bottom. Now, another interesting portion of the finished build is the great little minifigure that is standing out front here. So there's this optional attachment piece which can stick out the front of the model, and you've got a Vincent van Gogh minifigure who is painting a small version of the Starry Night. I think that goes really well with the three-dimensional version of this painting. Really kind of feels like you're seeing a scene here where Van Gogh is painting, and this three-dimensional version of the painting is kind of taking shape in his mind as he's painting on the canvas. So really cool, nice touch. I'm going to try and display the finished build up on the wall with this little attachment out here. I just need to find a nice place where it won't be at risk of getting knocked off. But I thought that was a cool and different sort of touch to include in the set. And just looking at this build from the side, again, you get a really good perspective on the dimensionality that they've managed to achieve. Really cool, I think, to see all those different layers sticking out off of the painting canvas to allow this whole scene to really come to life. Also, a really big fan of the frame around the painting. I think they've done an excellent job here. It looks quite nice. Really nice smooth, clean lines and adds a nice frame to the whole scene. And you can see on the back here, we've got a little mount here for hanging it up on the wall. So I will show that in an upcoming video once we get it hung up on the wall. But, you know, really nice job with this set. I think it looks really amazing. And I'm interested to see if we will get any other builds like this in the future. I could definitely see, you know, maybe not super regularly, but every so often coming out with a painting like this in, you know, a three-dimensional Lego form could be quite cool, and would definitely be an interesting addition to the Lego art sets that have been coming out. So overall, super happy with Lego Ideas set 21333, the Starry Night. I think this is an excellent addition to the Lego Ideas line of sets, and, you know, really continues to emphasize how great that that avenue of sets is, just for the sheer variety of, you know, different types of subject matter and, you know, styles of builds that we get out of it. And, you know, these are things that you would not normally see made into sets or sort of experimented with, I think. And, you know, I think it works really well. And I'm looking forward to having this up in our the stairway down into our Lego room. I think it'll be a really great display piece, something to you know, sort of marvel at on a regular basis, and, you know, something to be inspired from. Really interesting to see some of the different building techniques in here, like I mentioned. Really interesting to see how they've created a lot of dimension and texture throughout the build, you know, which adds a lot of visual interest and, you know, sort of eye-catching pieces to the finished model. And yeah, just quite happy with this overall. And if you had any doubts, I highly recommend picking this up. I think it's an excellent set. Definitely fun to build, and then results in a great finished product that will be a great display piece as well. And, you know, it's worth noting that you don't even really need to hang it on the wall if you've got a great sort of shelf area where you can display it, because of there's a little prop piece under there. It can actually stand up on its own. Obviously, the risk of it getting knocked over, but it's fairly sturdy like this. So, you know, different ways that you could display it. Like I mentioned, I'm going to look to hang this up on the wall. But, you know, I think that this would be a great display piece for any Lego fan, really. So thank you very much for watching our review of the Lego Ideas The Starry Night set. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.